Welcome to another edition of the Unofficial Commentators podcast. Today we're going to be reviewing Week 8 of NFL League of Haters Fantasy Football. We've already covered it before, but it's worth mentioning it again, people. Remember, always favorite our podcast channel on Podomatic.com and follow our YouTube channel, Unofficial Commentators, on YouTube. That's exactly how you can find it. I don't think there's any link to it, but if there is, I'll leave them on the side notes. I'm going to, as always, I will leave the links for the YouTube channel, for the YouTube video on the podcast, and the link for the podcast on the YouTube video. So, today, unfortunately, we do not have my co-host, my partner in crime, Mr. JJ98. He will not be here with us today, but we have our friend Omar, part of the league, and also the starting quarterback for the Central Crows. He's going through some recovery right now. He got hurt.
Shoulder surgery.
He got hurt 2 seasons ago. He went through surgery.
1 season ago.
Well, not this season.
That
season before.
Yeah.
He missed this season, unfortunately. But, just so people know a little bit, Omar, because everybody knows you got hurt. But, can you tell the story how you got hurt, maybe?
Okay.
Do you remember?
So what's up? This is Omar, also GM of the EMCC Brawlers. We're gonna get back on track. I was the starting quarterback of the Central Crows, the team that is coached by my man Paki right here, and was the starting quarterback for the first 3 years. My third year, I got hurt in the 5th or 6th game. Separated my shoulder on a running play, almost scored a touchdown, got me at the 1 yard line. I stayed in the game. I played 2 more quarters with a separated shoulder. We won that game, actually. We beat the Sharks. And after that, I haven't been able to play since. I've had 2 surgeries on my shoulder, and it's been a long road to recovery, but we still fighting, man.
That's good to know, man. People got to know that it's not just NFL players, man. Even us, the poor guys, we go through it,
Yeah, man.
And it takes a lot of courage to get back, and hopefully you will. He's going through a little bit of that. I mean, we got that little Belichick-Brady relationship here. We've known each other for a long time. I'm the coach. He's the quarterback. But I'm honest with him. He got a little bit of Tony Romo situation going on.
Tony Romo. Don't compare me to Romo,
we got a backup quarterback
who
started this year for the first time. And he actually did pretty good. So now he got to earn his job back next season. So hopefully he'll do what he got to do.
Ain't nothing like competition to bring out the best of a player, though. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's right, man. That's right. All right, man. So besides that, before we even get into football, there's no way I'm going to stay quiet about the NBA season, man. NBA is finally here. Yesterday we got a couple of good games. I'm not even going to bother talking much about the Utah game because I don't think many people... Utah-Portland, although Damian Lillard was
Lillard, CJ McCollum, Portland got a good team.
I know, man.
I'm telling you.
Dame Lillard got 39 points. That was pretty good. But I don't think many people saw that with Golden State playing San Antonio. And before that, Cleveland playing New York. And on top of it, had the World Series that Cleveland surprised everybody by beating the Cubs in the first game.
Who would have thought the Cleveland Indians and the Cleveland Cavaliers 3 years ago would be 2 of the best teams in their sport? That's crazy. Cleveland was always thought as an afterthought town. Nobody really cared about Cleveland. Look at them now.
It's amazing. They were having
Never
the ring
give up
ceremony.
on your city, man.
They were hosting the ring ceremony for the NBA championship, and across the street, they're having the game 1 of the World Series. So it's not the Cleveland that we are accustomed to know. The Browns got to get their game together.
That's crazy. That's why I like fans that stick with their teams through thick and thin, man. You could never take away the feeling of a struggling team finally making it to the World Series or to the NBA championships.
It feels it feels better. I'm a Mets fan. I'm a Raiders fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I struggled. At least with the Raiders, I'm seeing a little bit. And it feels good. I mean, we're not even in the playoffs yet, but it feels good. It's like a shine of light. But yesterday, man, LeBron versus the Knicks. LeBron was insane, man. He killed my Knicks. I have a lot of expectation for the Knicks this season as a Knicks fan. It's going to take some time getting together, the same as Golden State, which we'll talk about in a minute, obviously. But D-Rose looked better, looked good in the first half. The second half was atrocious for the Knicks. I mean, Cleveland just shut it down with their defense. That was impressive.
After the third quarter, Cleveland came to play defense. They shut them down. The Knicks were trying to run a triangle. I'm not sure if that system best fits the players they have. I think they should scrap the triangle. They should just try to run.
Yeah, they were like mixing it a little bit. You know, they were mixing it sometimes. But I'm as a Knicks fan and as a New Yorker, I have to hate on my Knicks right away because that's what New Yorkers do with the Knicks. I was a little upset with Hornacek. I mean, letting Cleveland run the score on 15-2 run in the third quarter without calling a timeout. Bro, call a timeout. And why are you running a 12-man rotation on game 1 against Cleveland? There's no way the Knicks have a deep enough roster to go 12-man deep into the bench. That's retarded. So I didn't really like that. But obviously Cleveland looks way better than they looked last year. The same starting 5 from last year. Nobody talks about that.
It looks like that win gave a lot of their players confidence, especially Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving was
looking NBA Finals type Kyrie Irving. Like,
I know, man.
That gave him a lot of confidence. And I like players when they come off the Olympics or the World Games. With that experience, they usually have a really good NBA season after an Olympic experience. So Kyrie should be a beast this year, man.
The chemistry is there. Kyrie's looking better. Kevin Love looked happy. You know, that's
everybody's happy when you win.
Everybody's happy when you win. I agree. And on the other side, on the Golden State side, man, we got. I know it's one game. You know, we're not saying Golden State's not going to the finals. They probably are. We're not saying Golden State's gonna tank this year. I mean, they're not. They weren't gonna go 82-0 anyways. But given the hype, I was very disappointed in the way they played, man.
I didn't watch the game. I seen the highlights this morning, and I just saw too much of the same thing I seen in the finals last year. Just too much shooting unnecessary threes. I didn't see a lot of team basketball. You know, they getting killed inside. LaMarcus Aldridge was having his way. Zaza Pachulia replacing Andrew Bogut gonna be huge. That's gonna be huge, in my opinion, for Golden State. If they want to try to take the next level, they should. This, as dumb as this may sound, play JaVale McGee more at center. He can rebound and he can defend the basket.
They'll find a way. I mean, you know, this first month entirely is probably going to be about mixing and matching, see what works. But what worried me a little bit is people forget what made Golden State the best regular season team of all time was how deep they went into their bench. I mean, the starting lineup would give them a lead. The bench would keep the lead or increase it. We didn't see that. We didn't see that now. And what worried me a little bit is that team basketball that Golden State played as of 2 years ago when Steve Kerr took over pretty much revolutionized the league. I mean, even Cleveland learned from it. Cleveland is playing a whole much more team basketball. But after what I saw yesterday, it's like the team basketball concept is a little bit of lost because I saw Clay, Curry, and Kevin Durant taking a lot of shots. Like, if I pass it, I'm not going to get my shot. So I got to get my shot. And I'm going to include Curry in there, who's a selfless player. I saw them forcing the shot too many times. Of course, they hit a couple of them because they're the best fucking shooters in the game. But there was definitely not even close to the same rotation as we were accustomed to seeing the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, San Antonio too was very impressive. I mean, it's not like they were playing.
I'm not overreacting to Golden State's loss. San Antonio almost won 70 games last year. Also, it's gonna take time for them to get acclimated with Durant and the new players they have. This reminds me a lot of when LeBron joined the Heat. They went 7-9, if I'm not mistaken, the first 16 games of the year, and they lost to the Boston Celtics the first game. So it's gonna take time. I'm not gonna completely count Golden State out off of one game. So it's a long NBA season, man. It's gonna be fun to watch. A lot of teams are gonna be high scoring teams this year, man.
The good news is they got like all the way till March, April to get it all fixed because they're gonna be in the playoffs and they're probably gonna be in the finals. And everybody's like, 100 points. They're gonna get the offense fixed, man. Forget about that. They missed a lot of shots they're gonna be making all year. What I don't know if they're gonna get fixed is that defense. But
they play good perimeter defense. They just get killed down low on second chance points and rebounds. That's a huge weakness for them, man.
They had, as a team, Golden State had 8 offensive rebounds yesterday.
As a team,
LaMarcus Aldridge alone got 8 offensive rebounds.
That's a huge weakness
yesterday.
Man. I'm telling you, a lot of people are talking about trading Clay for a Boogie. What do you think about that?
Come on, man, that's retarded. There's no way Golden State is going to undo that team after half a season. That's impossible. That's a failure. As a GM, you're admitting that you messed up and just fire me if you do that. as a GM, you got to stick with it. You already took the decision. You got to go with it. But obviously, that covered a little bit of basketball from yesterday, but we got to go straight to the
basketball is back.
Topic at point here, fantasy football. We are going to be touching a lot of fantasy basketball in the future, so don't worry, guys. Everything's going to have its time. But obviously, like I said, my boy JJ98 ain't here today to do the awards as he normally does, so I'm going to take that little segment. The top scoring team of the week was, guess who? Pimpin' Ain't Breezy with 146.1. That's JJ98. So he gets highest score of the week, and the guy parties so hard he can't even make it in the camera. I mean, you know,
Jay, I'm coming for your spot, man.
I'm kidding. It's worth noting that we will be together tomorrow. We are flying to Tampa Bay tomorrow afternoon. I will be there live for that Raider game. Me, my boy Jay, and a couple of our friends are going to be there. It's going to be crazy, man. So
Crow's Army will be at the Tampa Raider game in Tampa.
That's right. He's probably on the salon or some shit getting ready for tomorrow.
Salon.
Exactly. Getting his nails done. Lowest scoring team of the week, Omar 2600 with 69.7 points. And it's worth noticing that in one of the highest scoring leagues we've had so far, Wingardium Leviosa also scored 70.6. So these two teams were complete failures this week. And Omari, luck did not strike this time with only 69.7 points. The biggest blowout of the week goes to the EMCC Brawlers. My boy Omar right here, our special guest today, winning by 65.2 points. So your margin of victory was almost as much as what Donnie's team, Omari 2600, scored in general. So that's impressive.
I can't believe I lost to Donnie last week, man. Donnie has been the luckiest player. Hey, he keeps winning. But it's just crazy, man. Fantasy is just mostly luck. It's like Jay says, it's mostly luck. I say it's 95% luck, 5%
I'm going to repeat it again in the air. I think luck has to do with it, but I can't say it's all luck or 90%. I think it's a little bit of, I'd say it's 60-40 split, 60 knowledge, 40% luck. If you have the 60% knowledge and you don't have the 40% luck, you're going to win 6 out of 10 games. You know, if you have luck and no knowledge, you probably win 4 out of 10. If you have them both, you should win the championship, as we've seen. I think Donnie has been blessed with both a little bit of knowledge and mostly luck. But obviously luck plays a factor in fantasy football. Narrowest win of the week, RC Butterflies, Real City Butterflies over Hide the Blunt by 12.1 points. No nail biters this week. It was all pretty much decided by Monday Night Football. So it was all clear. The Lucky Award, as I call it, or the Luckiest of the Week Award, is repeating it again. It's the guy that wins against the team that they probably would have lost against everybody else. So Victor in this case would have lost to 9 other teams, but he wins with 111.2 points, which isn't even bad because it was a high scoring week. So with that note, that covers all the awards. And the highest fantasy player of the week was Melvin Gordon with 33.1 fantasy points. The touchdown machine, Melvin Gordon. He's like LaDainian Tomlinson without the yards.
He gets touchdowns.
He gets touchdowns. But LaDainian Tomlinson was a beast. He got the yards because Melvin Gordon ain't getting that many yards. So, pardon a little bit of wind on my mic. I have a very nice balcony. Some wind is coming in. So, pardon me. All right. So, with that covered, we can go straight to this week's recaps. Before I even go into the recaps, Omar, it's good to notice that this week we have 6 teams on bye. We got the Baltimore Ravens, the LA Rams, your Miami Dolphins.
2-game winning streak.
I'm going to go a little bit Skip Bayless on you. Your Miami Dolphins. New York Giants, JJ98's New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the San Francisco 49ers.
That's a lot of talent on bye.
A lot of relevant fantasy players will be on bye this week, so we might have a little bit of low scoring. Who knows? It's a 14-team league, so everybody's scrapping the waiver wire. I mean, the waiver wire this week was very thin. It was extremely thin. It was thinner than Lindsay Lohan when she was going through that drug problems. But everybody got at least 1 or 2 pieces to cover bye weeks. I know me personally, I got Cordero Patterson. I know he's not a big deal, but I needed a receiver, and I liked what he's done the last couple of weeks. And I'm expecting the Vikings to come back. But going straight to this week's recaps, with that in mind, let's pull up the first one. The first matchup was mine. I lost to Solo Action Boss, 131 to 109.9 points. I keep putting up over 100 points. I'm just not winning, man. On Soloyo's side, Derek Carr, again, wasn't very relevant fantasy-wise. In real life, he had a very good game. 200 yards at a touchdown, no turnovers. It sounds decent, but he made very, very clutch throws. He has Melvin Gordon, the highest scorer of the week, as I normally go against the highest scorer of the week. It's not the first time. Let's not forget I also went against Julio Jones when he went crazy.
Paki's a magnet for the high score.
I know. And on top of that, he also had Mike Evans with 25.6 points and good production from Tevin Coleman and Emmanuel Sanders. So overall, pretty good production from this team. Tevin Coleman has been impressive this season, even though with that split that they have with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, they're both getting there. So after having, no production from his baby Gronk Kelsey and not much production from his defense and Von Miller, he still put up 131 fantasy points thanks to that great production.
Yes, sir. And on Paki's side, Paki had Blake Bortles with 13.1 points. What happened to the Jacksonville Jaguars? Everybody had high expectations for that team. They just have been not meeting them.
They've gone to trash. I don't know what's gone to. I'd fire Gus Bradley at the end of the season. If they don't pick it up, if they
don't turn it around, he might be gone.
I'll fire
Christine
him.
Michael gave you 7 points. Disappointment. That was a low scoring game. Jarvis Landry gave you double-digit points. Tyrell Williams, 18.5, which is decent, but your tight end only gave you 1 point. You expect more from that from your tight end. Rashad Jennings gave you 11.9. Had a decent week. 109 points is pretty decent, but you felt it. You played against Cousin Juan, who had 131 points, and wasn't going to beat that.
At least I didn't lose anybody this week. That's my positive side to it. I didn't have any injuries. I'm suffering the Dwayne Allen loss because I got to pick up Clive Walford because there's the highest scoring tight end on the waiver wire in our league had 6 points. I looked it up. I'm like, there's literally nothing on the waiver wire.
Glad I picked up my 2 tight ends in the draft.
I know, man. All right, so I got let me go through the picks. I forgot I don't have Jay's picks for last week. I wasn't able to pull it up, so we'll go over it next week to see how our tally is. But I did have Solo on that matchup, so I did bet against me, and I was right.
Solo has a good team. Just let me throw that in there. I know Cousin Juan likes when you compliment him, but that his team is legit, man. Solo, you got a good team this year.
On the other side, you have Dangerous Minds versus Pimpin' Ain't Breezy. Pimpin' Ain't Breezy came up on top, 146.1 to 102. Dangerous Minds go with Russell Wilson. I mean, it's not even fair. There's no way anybody could have predicted that Seattle-Arizona game was going to go to overtime and end in a tie with no touchdowns from any of the sides.
6-6.
That's retarded. I mean,
the Cubs and the Cleveland Indians might score more points than that today.
Only 7 points. I will give him credit for picking up Mike Gillislee from Buffalo. I mean, Ali and his Dangerous Minds team, they're just like waiver sharks. They always pick up these players before anybody even knows. So Odell Beckham didn't hit him double digits. Pierre Garçon was bad as he's been all year. And Cameron Brate wasn't as good as we expected him to be against a very weak defense in San Francisco. So production was there from Spencer Ware and Randall Cobb. Unfortunately, that was not enough to win. I mean, 102 points. When 2 of your players combined give you 43, and you have a defensive player that gives you 17, that's 60 points, and you only got 102 from the rest combined with the rest of your team. So pretty bad overall week for Dangerous Minds.
And on Pimpin' Ain't Breezy's side, he had a classic Drew Brees game. Even though Drew Brees lost, he still threw for 367 yards and 3 touchdowns. That guy is a Hall of Famer shooting. Jeremy Hill, wow, 9 carries, 168 yards and a touchdown for 26.2 points. Very impressive. Matt Forte carried the ball 30 times for 100 yards, giving him 26.4 points. His top 3 starters performed admirably for him. 24, 26, and 26 points from your top 3 starters. Hard to beat that. He didn't get much production from Alshon Jeffrey and his flex Duke Johnson, but doesn't really matter. Those 3 guys carried the bulk of the team. and his defensive players had a pretty decent. Anytime you get more than 6 or 7 points from all your defensive players, that's pretty good.
Nah, man. Welcome back to Fantasy Relevance, Matt Forte with 26 fantasy points.
Yeah, man. 30 carries for 100 yards is not very good yard per carry production, but it's a steady dose, and he still got a touchdown.
Hey, man, it's fantasy football. He could have gotten 50 carries. If he's going to give you 26 points, I don't care how many carries he gives me. In real life, it sucks, but in fantasy, it's magic. I love it. All right, man. Going on to the next matchup. The lowest scorer of the week, Omar 2600 with 69.7 points, loses to now called Aryan Nation. I'm guessing that was a little bit of a diss on Donnie's Chinese heritage, 111.2, because, now Victor and Dara are trolling everybody with their names. But Amari 2600 had to start Joe Flacco. I would understand not starting Carson Palmer versus Seattle, but Joe Flacco was, 5 points against the New York Jets is unacceptable. That is very unfortunate. And you got Matt Jones gave you negative points at 0.3 points. Terrell Pryor, who has been a beast all year, only gave you 2.8 points. And Mohamed Sanu, 2.6 points. Extremely bad week. Amari Cooper, who's supposed to be the number one in the Raiders, another bad week. Michael Crabtree stealing the show over there. So the only decent player you had was Devontae Booker, who should take over the Denver Broncos now that C.J. Anderson's out, and Bobby Wagner, defensive player, which figures. On Seattle-Arizona's matchup, had to be defensive players giving up the fucking points.
And on Arian's Nation side, I think that name is to pay homage to Arian Foster, who he had on his team, who was going to retire due to not being able to stay healthy anymore.
Maybe I've been seeing too much Sons of Anarchy, the Aryans and shit. I don't know.
And he had a solid performance from his quarterback, Jameis Winston, 20.7 points. And Julio Jones, 22.9. T.Y. Hilton, 22.8. Those were his 3 highest scorers. Jordan Howard didn't really do much. 3.2 points in fantasy. That's not a lot for your second running back, but he's still I think he's still a solid player. He should still be the starter when Langford comes back. And he didn't even play a defensive player. Now that I look at the scoreboard, he only played with 2 defensive players and still got the win. So he didn't really need him.
That shows you the respect. He didn't even start a kicker. That shows you the respect he has for Donnie's team.
Damn.
So the lucky award, he's taking it with a smirk on his face because he knows he didn't start 2 players. I don't know if he did it on purpose or by mistake, but the important part of this here is that I'm going to be watching Jameis Winston live on Sunday.
I'm jealous, man. I really wanted to go on that trip with you guys, but circumstances.
Don't worry, man. There'll be more. Moving on to the next matchup. Princesas de Gotham City, which is clearly a hit on Gotham City Rogues, which are not called like that anymore. They face each other this week. 119.9 points. Loses to Double Check Crowell Green. I have no idea what that name means. I'm trying to figure it out.
Double Check Crowell Green. I know Double Check is because he has Aaron Rodgers, but what does that have to do with Crowell Green? I don't know. It's a play on his team players' names or whatever, so...
you could have so many cool names with Crow, like Crowell the Raven, nevermore.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, you could do Crowell before Hose instead of. So many things you could do, but you go Double Check Crowell Green. That's horrible. Even I did something better when I had AJ Green. I remember I called my team Green Eggs and Ham. That's a horrible team name. But on the Princesas de Gotham City side, he had a lot of good double-digit production from a lot of his players. 119 points is not bad at all for a 14-team league. That normally would have won you a lot of matchups, but unfortunately went up against a tough matchup. Andy Dalton, 20.3 fantasy points. Devontae Freeman, Golden Tate, and Jameson Crowder all gave you over 12 points. And Brandon LaFell gave you 16 points. And on top of that, you had 12 from a defensive player and 10 from your kicker. That's a pretty great overall production looking through an entire team. But like I said before, you went up a team that scored over 130, unfortunately.
Double Check Crowell Green, a.k.a. Chef Reyes, had Aaron Rodgers with 22.7 points. That's a very good performance from A-Rod. A.J. Green, 26.9. And guess what? Landon Collins, the safety, 26 points. He had 2 picks and a crazy pick 6. That was probably one of the highlights of the week. Let me see what
probably
else.
hurts Darryl the most. Sorry to interrupt. Is that Darryl's a Giants fan.
He's a Giants fan.
And Landon Collins, I mean, the only reason why that's not the number 1 player of the week is because that Hail Mary that AJ Green caught. And double check Kroger Green got them both. AJ Green and Landon Collins. To me, those were the top 2 plays of the week, man, by far.
Agree. And the rest of his players under double-digit points, but what did it matter? Giovanni Bernard gave him 15.2 with a touchdown. So, 137 points. Nothing Darryl could do there.
At all, man. Moving on to the next one. Hide the Blunt, 119.4 points. Loses to Real City Butterflies with 132 fantasy points. Real City Butterflies quietly but surely is putting up a pretty good fantasy season. Matt Ryan, 13.7 points, the highest fantasy quarterback right now, the highest actual quarterback in real life regarding passing yards. Only put up 13 points against San Diego's defense, who, in my opinion, has been very underrated. They've gotten it together lately. It's just San Diego is bad at closing games, but man, except for this one, they surprised Atlanta. It was amazing how they won that game.
San Diego's tough, man. That whole division is actually really good. Like the Raiders are good, the Chiefs are good, the Broncos are good, and the Chargers are scrappy, man.
As a matter of fact, Colin Cowherd did his blazing 10, his top 10 of the week. No, it's not blazing 10. How is it that he calls it? Well, his top 10 of the week, and he has all 4 AFC West teams in his top 10. I think he exaggerated a little bit with San Diego, but I mean, to be honest, the win-loss record in San Diego doesn't tell the story of how good they are.
They got a legit quarterback in Phillip Rivers, who is a Hall of Famer, and they got some weapons on the offensive end. They just need to tighten up on the defense, but they're pretty good.
Yeah, luckily, LeGarrette Blount with the Bullet Chicks got 25.9 points, and Michael Crabtree was the hero in Oakland with 19.6 points. Those were the ones that kept your team afloat, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough, man. Everybody else sucked. Martellus Bennett, he screwed me also in another fantasy league. Only gave 1 point. I'm hoping a little bit more from him. But man, does it hurt to keep Andrew Luck in the bench with 27.8 points. I don't blame you for doing it at all, but I just figured in this case, I know it hurt because Matt Ryan didn't do anything.
And on the Real City Butterflies, he had Phillip Rivers, who did have 371 yards, but only 13.6 fantasy points. He must have fumbled. Yep, he had a fumble and a pick. And Jay Ajayi, the 2-time AFC Player of the Week for the Miami Dolphins, looking like a young Ricky Williams running the ball, man.
I have to say publicly on this podcast, I've hated a lot on Jay Ajayi. I don't know if we want to give the credit to Adam Gase for the play designs or the offensive line, but I gotta swallow my words, man. He's playing pretty good, man, the last 2 weeks.
Right now, I'm gonna give credit to the offensive line though, because the Dolphins have a stat that when Jawan James, Mike Pouncey, and Brandon Albert play, they are 9-1 since 2014.
Dolphin fan stat.
So
right
yeah, man, the offensive line, when those 3 guys play, their Dolphins are pretty decent, man. And
I'm definitely gonna use that for. Definitely.
So yeah, man. Joking. And Jay Ajayi is running hard. He's broke in the last game. He broke 10 tackles, and his yards after contact has been crazy. So it's been both offensive line and him. But this is crazy because I'm a hardcore Dolphin fan, and I never thought that he would be this good. It's crazy.
I know it's impressive, and he looks confident.
Yeah, man, he looks good. Let's see if he could keep it up because he's taking a lot of carries.
Confident running back is dangerous.
No, he runs hard, man. He runs really hard.
I know. I'm telling you, confidence is very dangerous in football.
Sorry to interrupt, but Ivan also started this running back named Don Jackson for the Green Bay Packers. Gave him 0.6 points. I don't think he was really expecting much from that guy.
Hey, wait. Let's be clear. Don Jackson got hurt in the second carry, man. He comes from the practice squad, and that's why Ty Montgomery exploded. Nobody sees that. Everybody thought Ty Montgomery was part of the game plan. No, he wasn't. Don Jackson was taking the reps in practice with the first team. Ty Montgomery was taking the third down snaps with the team. But Don Jackson went down.
So you got to go to plan B. He had 13 points from Demaryius Thomas. That's a decent game from him. And Brandon Cooks with 15.3 points. Also, his kicker gave him 14 points. Anytime your kicker can give you over 10, that's a plus. and 132 total points for the Wayne Real City Butterflies. Ivan should keep auto drafting because this is the best fantasy football team I've seen him in all the years that we've had together.
I agree. There's no way that Ivan knows more football than ESPN, unfortunately. And every time he auto drafts, either in this league or any other league, like not football, I mean like basketball, I think he did it once. He also had a good team. On to the next matchup, the blowout of the week. Wingardium Leviosa with 70.6 points against my boys EMCC Brawlers right here with 135.8. Wingardium, the first thing I got to say about this team is bad luck bit this one with Brian Hoyer, who has a broken arm and won't be coming back. And unfortunately, that's going to hurt a lot of people because that's going to hurt whoever has Cameron Meredith. That's going to hurt whoever has anybody on that Bears offense because I do not believe in Jay Cutler. I think Zach Miller is the only one that's benefiting from Jay Cutler coming back. And maybe Alshon Jeffrey, but Jay Cutler has been horrible. Le'Veon Bell, 18.9 points, putting up the fantasy production as always. But besides that, everybody from your second running back all the way to your flex option gave you less than 5 points. You got 1.4, 1.7, 5, 2.8, 4.5 on D. Your top scorer was Le'Veon Bell, and then your kicker. So that sucks, man. It's a pretty bad fantasy week.
Yeah, man. He had bad luck on that Thursday night game. His this week hinged on that game, and his plays didn't perform. I had Devontae Adams, who did play on Thursday night and scored 31.7 points.
Ooh, second highest score in
That
fantasy.
was my pickup of the week. DeMarco Murray has been carrying my team all year. This guy has been a workhorse, man. I called it in the offseason. That guy's been balling. Rob Gronk doing Rob Gronk things. 4 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. And some decent play from my defense for 135 points. You know, I'm trying to go streaking.
I like the double tight end formation you got there with Rob Gronk and Jimmy
Yeah,
Graham.
man, that's what I envisioned because it's hard to find a consistent flex. I was thinking if Jimmy could get back to what he used to be, that would be good to have 2 big targets as a tight end.
Even on a defensive game like the one we saw Sunday night, he still got 7.8 points, and he's a tight end.
But man, no matter what I try, my team just can't come together as I wanted. I traded for Allen Robinson, and the guy gave me 1.9 points. Played against the Oakland Raiders secondary, which I thought he would do better. Mm-hmm. But Jacksonville just has been a disappointment.
Fact is, I still have not lost hope in him or Jacksonville. I think they can get it together. I don't know if it'll be after the bye. Maybe after this Thursday night football, they play the Titans tomorrow. I don't know, but I think they can still get it together.
I think they're going to have to take a page out of the Dolphins playbook and just commit to the run, man. Run the ball. You got 2 decent running backs in Chris Ivory and TJ Yeldon. Run the ball, man. Run the ball. Set up the play action because Bortles, he's a quarterback that is taking some bumps and stuff. So
they got to get more creative on the runs. I mean, they're just like running power up the middle and going deep. Their offense looks very predictable and very boring. So that falls on coaching. I'd like to see a little bit more screen passes, a little bit more counters, a little bit more read option. All that stuff could work for them, but I don't see them doing it. The next matchup, Brady's Girly Men with 142.2 fantasy points. Almost the high score, but only stayed at the second high score. Beats FIBA which only scored 118 points. Brady's Girly Man, after having Todd Brady, I say it every week, looks great. But I have a surprise for you guys later. Todd Gurley, 12.2 points. CJ Anderson, 16 points. Besides the fact that he's out this week. He didn't finish the game. He's not going to play this week. Kudos on the Mike Wallace start at the wide receiver position. 17 points. And just like you, this guy's going with a double tight end formation with Delaney Walker and Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates did give you more points than Hunter Henry. You have both Chargers tight ends. I don't know why you're still starting Antonio Gates. I think Hunter Henry is better than Antonio Gates at this point in real life. And while Delaney Walker is clearly the best offensive player in the Tennessee Titans, gave you 17.9 points, man. That's killer right there. And, of course, I got to mention the kicker who gave you 17 points in Josh Lambo. That's.
I'd have to correct you on that. I think DeMarco Murray is the best offensive player in Tennessee.
I think Delaney Walker is better than DeMarco Murray. I mean, DeMarco Murray looks like fucking Odell Beckham with 240 pounds.
You mean Delaney Walker?
Delaney Walker. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, the guy's. I think he's the most talented player on that offense. I think DeMarco Murray is having a better season.
DeMarco's a beast, man. Catching, running, breaking tackles.
He is. I don't think he's more talented than Delaney Walker. Delaney Walker's so underrated, man.
All right, and fuck you, Ben Affleck's side. Tough loss, man. Out of all his starters, they all gave him double-digit points except Brandon Marshall, and he gave you 9.4. You can't ask for more than that, man. 118 total points. It wasn't enough to beat Vasquez, but he would have been. I can't tell off the top of my head, but probably could have been at least 3 or 4 other teams. So
yeah, he would.
Tough luck, man. All your players performed well. Alex Smith did it. Alex Smith does 17 points. Frank Gore 16.8. Jarquiz Rogers, great pickup, man. Great pickup. 16.8 points. Larry Frizz doing what he does, 9 catches for 70 yards. Vernon Davis is another decent pickup now that Jordan Reed is down. I expect Vernon Davis to be a pretty decent tight end. And Anquan Bolden, who's been sporadically getting a touchdown here or there for Detroit with 10 points. But it wasn't enough to beat Brady's girly man, who has Tom Brady and the boys.
I swear, man, the way all these running backs are falling this year, next year in the draft, my entire bench is gonna be full of backup running backs.
Hey, that's
swear. I'm not even joking.
That's the game plan that Donnie used, and look at that, he went.
I'm gonna draft all the fucking running backs. But all right, so that covers the Week 7 recaps. Now we gotta go straight to Week 8. Like I said already, we have Thursday Night Football, Jacksonville versus Titans. Thursday Night Football is bad enough already. It's probably going to get worse tomorrow because not only are those two teams kind of boring to watch, but their uniforms are horrible. Blake Bortles.
I predict a low-scoring game, man.
Blake Bortles came out and said it in public. He's like, hey, somebody has to say it. I don't care if it's my team. Those uniforms are horrible.
I haven't even seen them yet, actually.
They're the same ones they used last year. The mustard
man.
yellow.
Those are some horrible uniforms, yeah. Horrible.
The full mustard yellow from head to toe. That's pretty bad, man. But going into Week 8, I'm going to say my picks, and I'm going to say Jay's picks. Obviously, Omar, as our special guest today, is going to give his picks. But I have to put on camera, I have to put in recording Jay's picks. He did send them over to me, even though he's not here today. So the first matchup we're going to go over is Brady's Girly Men versus A Tribe Called Wentz. That's myself. I'm 1-6. Brady's Girly Men is at 5.2. Now, I'm not gonna go over my team. I'll let Omar review my team. But Brady's Girly Man is wow, man. This guy, he's always benching all his players. But Tom Brady against Buffalo, I expect Tom Brady to be big again. I'm not very convinced at the running back position. I'll tell you guys why. He has T.J. Yeldon playing against Tennessee, who has been pretty good against the run this year, and it's a Thursday Night Football game. Besides that, he has nobody else at the running back position because C.J. Anderson will not be playing, and Todd Gurley's on a bye, so he's gonna have to go scouting the pretty empty waiver wire and pick up some scumbag running back and start him there, and he's gonna have to drop somebody. And on the receiver side, he has Marvin Jones and Jordy Nelson, which should be pretty good, except that Marvin Jones is playing Houston, who hasn't been that bad against receivers. Delaney Walker, like I already hyped him up enough, I can't mention him again. And on his flex, he's going to have a little bit of an inconvenience. He's probably going to start Michael Floyd, I assume, who's playing Carolina. Michael Floyd hasn't done much, but he'll get a score here or there any week. But I'll let Omar talk about my team, and then I'll give you guys my pick and Jay's pick.
All right, so looking at your team, I see you have Carson Wentz as your starter. You're going with Carson Wentz over Blake Bortles. I think that's a good idea. David Johnson, a no-brainer. Christine Michael, no-brainer. Now, you went with Kendall Wright and Cordell Patterson as your wide receivers. You didn't have much choice because Landry's on a bye. So is Devontae Parker. Clive Walford is going to be your tight end again, I assume. Let's hope that he does more. He gets more than one catch.
There's literally nothing else in the waiver wire. I try to get something else. It's nothing.
Matt Asiata as your flex. Matt Asiata, he should be good for at least a touchdown. Maybe a couple of red zone carries. And your defensive players, Carl Joseph, Lorenzo Alexander, and David Amerson. I really like Lorenzo Alexander from Buffalo. That guy is a beast. He's everywhere, man. I was watching him versus the Dolphins. That guy,
he's a very good candidate for defensive player.
Check this out.
And nobody's talking
He doesn't
about
only play defense. He's a beast on special teams and defense. That's rare. You don't see a guy play special teams and start on defense.
I think he still leads the league in sacks.
It's crazy. It's crazy. He's a linebacker. And let me see. Caleb Sturgis is your kicker. So, who would I pick in this game? I'm going to go with, I'm sorry, bro. I'm going to go with Brady Gurley's man.
No, that's fine. Jay's going also with Brady's Gurley man, which is understandable. I'm horrible on this one. But I'm going to go with my team on this one. I know it's going to say, oh, you're picking your team. But I honestly think the issue that Brady's Gurley man has at running back is going to come back to bite him in the butt. And that's going to be my chance. I've been pretty bad all year, but I have very, very good running backs in David Johnson and Christian Michael. And Matt Asiata is playing Chicago. So I think I can win this. I'm only giving this explanation for you guys to understand why I'm going against the team that I've been hyping up all year. If it was any other matchup, I wouldn't be explaining myself like this. But it's only fair that I give an explanation so I don't sound like a hypocrite after I've been hyping up Brady's Gurley man all year. I think this is a good week for me to play.
Let's go.
All right, so moving on to Dangerous Minds at 2-5 versus Aryan Nation, who is 6-1. Victor Frankenstein challenging to be the top fantasy team of this league. We have Dangerous Minds going with Russell Wilson against New Orleans. Expect Russell Wilson to have a big bounce back. Spencer Ware is becoming harder to tackle every week, and now he's playing the old and weak Indy defense. That's gonna be a beast matchup right there. Latavius Murray, who I'm gonna be watching live, by the way, on Sunday in Tampa Bay. It's gonna be playing Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's defense, they're good one week, they're bad another. They're inconsistent. It's just a matter of if Latavius Murray's gonna get the scores or not. At least if Oakland gets to the end zone, which they have no problem getting there, they do look for Latavius Murray to score. Pierre Garçon versus Cincinnati, I do not even like that matchup. And Ty Montgomery against Atlanta, I expect him to be okay, but I do not expect him to duplicate what he did last week with 17 fantasy points. So don't be surprised if he gives you between 8 or 10. Cameron Brate, I expect him to be pretty good. The Raiders defense is horrible, so anybody in Tampa Bay should have a good week. And kudos to you for picking up Gillespie. I already said it. Sean McCoy still struggling with the hamstring. So on this one, I'm not going to give anything around it. I'm going with Dangerous Minds on this matchup. I really like all the matchups. And I must say that Mr. JJ98 on this one, he went with Aryan Nation. Well, let's see what's up with Aryan Nation.
So we know that Victor Aryan Nation, he likes to do this thing where he puts all these guys that we know are not going to start as his starters until game day. So right now he has Tony Romo as a starting quarterback. We know that's not going to happen. But I think that he's going to start with Jameis Winston. Julio Jones is going to start. His team is stacked, man. I'm going to go with Aryan Nation. I just don't want to go through all these players that he has on the bench. But let me see. Well, he has a choice. He might. Who would you go with, Jameis Winston or Dak Prescott, who plays Philly on Sunday night?
I'd go with Jameis Winston at home versus the Raiders. I know the Raiders have been playing better on the road. They're 4-0 on the road, by the way. But Philly's defense is no joke, man. They shut down Carson Wentz bad.
True that. But I'm going to go with Aryan Nation also. I just think that Julio Jones is going to have a field day versus Green Bay. I just have that feeling. I don't know why. And his running backs are pretty good, man.
That's a valid feeling. Green Bay secondary is all banged up. They're pretty bad. All right, so moving on to the next one. Real City Butterflies at 4-3 goes against Omar 2600, the luckiest team on the planet. I swear to God, you can name your team. What was his name? Teddy Williams, was it? Or was it Babe Ruth, the one that said, I consider myself the luckiest man on the field in baseball?
Ted Williams?
Ted Williams. Yeah. I swear to God, man, you're so lucky. But for this matchup, before I even go into it, I'm going to say I'm going with Omari 2600. I'll tell you why. Which, by the way, he's playing that Victor Gary joke with leaving everybody on the bench. But Real City Butterflies has Phillip Rivers versus Denver. Jay Ajayi, which how do you say it? Ajayi?
Ajayi.
Jay Ajayi is on bye, which has carried this team. Deshaun Jackson has Don Jackson. We don't know if he's playing yet, but he might be a little bit phased out because of how Ty Montgomery played.
And Niles Davis is also there. So
and now Niles Davis should be more ready. So he's probably gonna be a little bit phased out. I'm thinking maybe you can start.
Zeke
you're
Elliott.
definitely gonna start Zeke Elliott. Yeah, you have him on the bench, so that's gonna help your running game there. But you're gonna start him for Jay Ajayi anyways. Demarius Thomas versus San Diego is tricky. Doug Baldwin, that's your wild card right here versus New Orleans, and Kyle Rudolph versus Chicago. Those two should be your mass producers because all the other ones are pretty bad matchups. Brandon Cooks versus Seattle, I don't expect him to do much. Nobody does much against Seattle. So overall, you only got two good matchups, and we don't even know because Kyle Rudolph is a tight end. So I really don't like Real City Butterflies for this week.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm looking at Amari 2600's team, and he has a lot of question marks, man. Like his quarterback. Let me see, Carson Palmer. I told you at the beginning of the season, I think Carson Palmer's last year was a fluke. Carson Palmer, his career, he's never been really that elite quarterback that he showed he was last year. His career has been up and down, and this is on par with what his career has usually been. He has one good year, and the next year totally sucks. So I'm not expecting big things from Carson Palmer versus Carolina. Well, Carolina's defense has been bad. He should start Devontae Booker as his running back versus San Diego. In that running scheme, Devontae Booker should get over 100 yards. Let me see who else. Matt Jones versus Cincinnati. I don't know if that would be a good start. Alshon Jeffrey is a receiver that he traded for from Jay, and I think he's going to start, but I don't expect nothing big from Alshon Jeffrey versus Minnesota secondary. So I'm going with the Real City Butterflies over Amari 2600.
Yeah, man, I went with Amari 2600, and it's worth noting that Jay went with Real City Butterflies as well. So I'm glad that me and Jay are picking a little bit different now. Oh, by the way, kudos on Amari 2600 finally hitting on a running back with Devontae Booker. They've been playing the running back roulette, so they got that one. He's probably going to stick. And I'm afraid he might even take C.J. Anderson's job. I hope not, because I got him in another league, but whatever.
Yeah, I think Booker's the real deal.
Yeah, me too. So, Princesos de Gotham City at 3-4 goes up against Wingardium Leviosa, the former Gotham City Rogues, who are also on 3-4. So, this is a tiebreaker matchup. I'm going with Princesos de Gotham City on this one. Andy Dalton versus Washington. Washington on the road, they're not that good. They pretty much suck. And Devontae Freeman versus Green Bay, if he plays, which he should. He should be. I mean, Green Bay has had good defense, but Atlanta's offense is incredible. I don't like Darren Sproles that much versus Dallas, but and I don't like Golden Tate and Jamison Crowder either. Wow, why did I pick this team? But I gotta go with this team because I picked them.
Remember, man, we're in a 14-team league, and a lot of teams have bias. So we're gonna see a lot of names that we're gonna be like, "What the hell are they doing there?" But there's no choice.
Yeah, you're right. I think the reason I picked them is because I don't like the matchups for Wingardium are even worse than this one. But of course, it's not predictable. But there's not much to tell about this team, man. I think it's gonna be a low-scoring matchup between both.
I agree. Wingardium Leviosa. He picked up Sam Bradford due to his injury at quarterback last week. Bilal Powell is his running back. I don't think he's going to get much carries with Forte there, but he might get some receptions here or there. He's a scat back. Dwayne Washington from Detroit, same situation as Bilal Powell. Kelvin Benjamin, wow, that guy exploded at the beginning of the year and just hasn't been the same since.
And now he's going up against the no-fly zone.
The no-fly zone. He has Cameron Meredith, who gets Jay Cutler back as his quarterback, so he might see some production there.
Against Minnesota, by the way.
Oh, it is Minnesota, true that, yeah. Zach Miller versus Minnesota. Steph Diggs versus Chicago. Steph Diggs should get some points. Preston is his defensive linebackers, Cyprian and Neal. I don't see too many things from those those defensive players. He has Le'Veon Bell on a bye, and Jamal Charles looks like he's dinged up. So I am also going to go with Princesos de Gotham City.
Yeah, so did Jay. And I think the main reason is I remember Jay saying Le'Veon Bell's on bye. That's going to hurt. And Le'Veon Bell has been the most solid producer on that team.
Le'Veon Bell's a beast.
The next matchup, we got your matchup, EMCC Brawlers at 2-5 versus Double Check Crowell Green at 4-3. EMCC Brawlers strutting out a couple of Thursday night players with Marcus Mariota, DeMarco Murray, and Chris Ivory. I like Marcus Mariota and DeMarco Murray both against Jacksonville. They've been pretty inconsistent. And Chris Ivory versus Tennessee. It's tough to predict. We'll have to wait and see. You got Des Bryant back. That should help you a bunch, even if it's against Philly. Des Bryant is Des Bryant. Devontae Adams. I think Devontae Adams earned a lot of confidence from Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. I expect him to be used a little bit more against Atlanta, which should be a high-scoring game because Atlanta is going to throw it, so Green Bay is going to have to throw it. Jimmy Graham versus his old team, New Orleans, in the Dome. Come on, man. Come on, bro. You know he's gonna kill him. He is going to kill him. So overall, man, I definitely went in this matchup with EMCC Brawlers.
Yeah, man. On the double check Crowell Green side, Chef Reyes. He's got a decent team, man. He's got Aaron Rodgers.
Very good team.
Yeah,
very good team.
Yep. Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback versus Atlanta. Atlanta's defense is suspect. Isaiah Crowell has been getting a touchdown almost every game. Giovanni Bernard is decent. He's more than decent. Giovanni Bernard is a good running back. AJ Green is a monster. Allen Hurns, he can always explode anytime. It's just that he's playing for Jacksonville, and they have been very bad this year. He has his New Orleans receiver in Michael Thomas, who plays Seattle. I don't expect much from that. And his defensive players are Tyrann Mathieu, Logan Ryan, and Craig Robinson.
I
don't see too much from the
Can we say
players.
that Michael Thomas is a possible Rookie of the Year candidate?
The receiver for New Orleans?
Yeah.
Let me check his numbers. I haven't been paying attention to him.
Oh, man.
Wow, 10 catches for 130 yards last game versus Kansas City.
He's insane, man. He's
from Ohio State, right?
He's been very productive. I don't remember what college he's from, to be honest. But he is used a lot. He has taken the job from both Willie Snead and Brandon Cooks as, in my opinion, the number one receiver. Because even if he's not lined up as the number one, he's getting number one production.
Hey, man, Drew Brees slings it, so he's going to get opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
And I'm going to go ahead and pick myself, even though I do not like my Thursday night matchup games because I think that's going to be a very low-scoring game. But I'm going to go ahead and pick myself. Whatever.
No,
I don't care.
I think Tennessee should kill it. I wouldn't be surprised if both Mariota and DeMarco Murray score a rushing touchdown.
Hey, I'll take that.
I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe DeMarco a receiving touchdown. Who knows? So, and that would be even better for you.
Hey,
but I know I'm almost positive Mariota's going to score a rushing touchdown. But Jay also went with the EMCC Brawlers on this one. So that's all three of us going with that matchup. The next matchup, Pimpin' 8 Breezy at 2-5. The highest score of last week, my boy JJ 98 versus Hyde the Blunt at 3-4. Wow. I went with Jay again. I know he has Drew Brees versus Seattle, but I like Jeremy Hill. I like Matt Forte versus Cleveland. I definitely like that. I like Terrell Pryor versus the Jets. And I like Jack Doyle as well. Without Dwayne Allen, without Dwayne Allen and Dante Moncrief, Jack Doyle has become a relevant fantasy player for the Indianapolis Colts. Besides that, Hyde the Blunt doesn't have many good matchups that I can think of. Yep, I'm going with Pimpin' Ain't Breezy on this one, man.
Okay, and on Hyde the Blunt side, he has Matt Ryan going against Green Bay. I think that's gonna be a high-scoring matchup. Matt Ryan should get his points. LeGarrette Blount at Buffalo. If New England sees what Miami did to Buffalo in the running game, I think they'll follow the same recipe and feed LeGarrette Blount. Chris Thompson, I'm not too high on that guy. He's a scat back reception type of guy. They don't really throw it to him too much. Jeremy Maclin, he's been alright, but Alex Smith, he prefers to throw his tight ends and running backs. Michael Crabtree has been a big red zone target for Derek Carr this year, and they're playing against Tampa Bay with those small cornerbacks. They have Brent Grimes and Vernon Hargreaves, who are both under 5'10". Let me see, Martellus Bennett. Last year he put up a stinker, but you never know with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. They game plan for different teams, so they might use Gronk as a decoy and throw it to Bennett. You never know. And his defensive players are pretty decent. He has I don't agree with putting a cornerback usually as a defensive player. He has two. But Marcus Cooper is a beast, so.
You know what? After listening to you and double checking this and seeing the fact that Jay actually picked himself at Pimpin' and Breezy, I'm going to go against Jay. I'm going to switch my pick. I'm going to do it in public. I'm going to go with Hide the Blunt.
Your nemesis.
Yeah. Oh, that's the reason why I didn't pick him. Oh, fuck that. I'm not changing it. Nah, man. I'm not going to root for Hide the Blunt. Nah, man. Screw that.
He got...
For a moment, I forgot it was him. Nah, man. There's no way. I scratched that. I'm not going to delete it from the podcast. I'm not going to edit that part out. I'm not going to root for you, Mr. Joel Vasquez. Screw you, bro.
From what it looks like here, I don't know if this might happen game time, but he looks like he's benching DeAndre Hopkins, who last year was a fantasy stud, and this year has been a shell of himself with Rockweiler as a quarterback. That guy is just...
I don't blame him, and I understand it because Jeremy Maclin versus Indy sucks, and his Michael Crabtree has been unbenchable. So I don't blame him for benching him. Yeah.
But Travis Benjamin?
Logic says Hide the Blunt should win, but I'm not gonna root for that team. I'm gonna root for my co-host and my bro and my partner in crime, Mr. JJ. Of course, it's obvious. All right, so the last matchup of the week, So Loyal Action Bouse. We're at 5-2 goes against FIBA at 4-3. Interesting matchup in this one. Straight off the bat, I'm going with FIBA, even though So Loyal is playing Derek Carr, who I'm going to be seeing live. I'm going to be seeing live on Sunday at 1 p.m. in Tampa Bay. I don't know if I mentioned it before. Yeah. And one of the main reasons why I picked FIBA is because Melvin Gordon, who has been pretty much its top producer, is going up against Denver. The only week that Melvin Gordon didn't put up double-digit fantasy points was versus Denver 2 weeks ago. And now they're at Denver. I expect them to struggle a little bit more. They will be ready for him. James White, he's Bellatrix, man. He's tricky.
He's remember Deion Lewis last year?
Yeah.
The same role. So he's gonna get his points.
It's tricky, man. I'm expecting New England to run the ball more, like you said, more than pass it to James White. By the way, I gotta say, I mentioned before when Buffalo played New England, everybody laughed at me. I said Buffalo can beat New England because New England is starting Jacoby Brissett. They don't have Tom Brady. Rex Ryan's a good defensive coach. He knows how to game plan for the system. He does not know how to game plan for Tom Brady. Well, now Tom Brady's back, so I just got to make it clear that I understand New England's going to beat the crap out of Buffalo. Mike Evans, who I'm going to be seeing live on Sunday in Tampa Bay.
You're going to be there live?
I will. I will be there live with my Derek Carr jersey, by the way. Is playing the Raiders. I expect him to do big things. Sean Smith got to step it up. Sean Smith is probably going to take Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is going to burn Sean Smith bad, the way Sean Smith has been playing. And Emmanuel Sanders versus San Diego, I don't think he'll do much. But Travis Kelce for sure is going to have a bounce back week. I don't know who he's going to start his flex. It could be Tevin Coleman. It could be Niles Davis. Either one, I expect to give kind of the same thing between 8 to 11 points maybe. So I'm definitely going to go with FIBA on this one, man. So.
All right, so let me check out FIBA's side. He's starting Cam at QB. Old Man Gore at the running back versus Kansas City. Cam versus Arizona. I don't know. Arizona's defense looks like they're back to last year's type defense. So that's going to be intriguing to watch. Jacquizz Rodgers versus the Oakland Raiders. I think Jacquizz has another decent game.
I'll be there, by the way.
Okay. That's good to know.
That's right.
Brandon Marshall versus Cleveland. Marshall should have a field day. Cleveland secondary. Joe Hayden is good, but I think Marshall should kill him. Larry Fitz versus Carolina. Larry Fitz always gets at least double-digit points. Greg Olsen has been a beast all year. His flex, he has a bunch of options that he could throw at you. He has Vernon Davis. He has Theo Riddick, Jordan Matthews, and he picked up Quincy and Nunwa. So he might do. Remember, he had what was this guy? Decker. So now he picked up Inono. He might do the Jets receiver thing, but the Jets quarterback sucks this year. So
Ryan Fitzpatrick played a little bit better last week when he came in for Geno Smith, and it is Cleveland. Maybe this week, Enunwa could do something. That's possible.
Yeah, I would go with an unknown. But let me see. Looking at both matchups, I think Gary has the more favorable matchup. So I'm gonna go with FYBA.
Mr. JJ98 went with So Loyal on this matchup, giving support to his cousin, but I'm gonna stick with FIBA, man. I think Cam Newton, even though he's playing Arizona, coming from a bye week, rested, I think he's upset at the 1-5. I don't know why it's a feeling. It's nothing I can prove or give stats about. I just have a feeling that Cam Newton's gonna come guns blazing out on Sunday.
Cam.
I think Carolina is going to upset Arizona. I honestly believe that. It's a feeling. I just think Cam and Carolina, after having this whole week to digest that 1-5, these whole 2 weeks, they're gonna be pretty pissed. I expect them to be big.
Yeah, hopefully they regroup, man, because they were a fun team to watch last year.
Maybe I'm wrong, because like I said, statistically Arizona should beat them. The Panthers have been horrible. I don't know, man. I think the defense is gonna come in angry, and they should do something. It's worth noticing that. By the way, that sums up the previews for Week 8. But it's worth noting that we've barely talked in this podcast about Colin Kaepernick. I mean, everybody talks about Colin Kaepernick. You know what's funny? The media was throwing Kaepernick stuff all over the place when he wasn't playing. So now that he's playing, nobody's talking about him. You know why nobody's talking about him? Because he sucks. Nobody cares anymore. You know, Jay wanted me to say, like, you know, Jay was asking me, I'm sorry, is Kaepernick relevant now with all these bye weeks? Well, I can think of like 31 other quarterbacks I'd rather start right now in fantasy football over Colin Kaepernick.
In a football sense, Colin Kaepernick as a quarterback, realistically, he's not a high caliber NFL quarterback. The talk at the beginning of the year was for the message that he was trying to spread, which I think has worked. That's what the talk has been all year. In the United States, that is a very hot topic right now.
It is.
So he has done his part in raising awareness for the police brutality. And in my opinion, I think that's good for him. And I think, let me see, Kaepernick as a quarterback, he's not an elite NFL quarterback. And the 49ers run defense is horrible. They cannot stop the run.
They can't. I really think Kaepernick peaked already, and I don't think he's gonna do much. And you know, a lot of people think when I'm looking back at San Francisco game tape, I'm gonna go through this on the podcast because a lot of people have mentioned this before. Everybody's like, but Kaepernick is perfect for Chip Kelly's offense. Well, the only reason people say that is because he can run. But Kaepernick is very slow getting the plays out the line, and Kaepernick has a very slow release.
That's always been my knock on him, is his throwing mechanics.
Yeah, his release is extremely slow.
There's been some NFL quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers, those type of guys with unorthodox releases. His release has always been to me too slow to develop. And he went to the Super Bowl, but that was like we've always said in the chat. He took advantage of the read option era, was brand new in the NFL.
He did. And he had John Harbaugh, who's molded the offense for him. And it's, I need people to understand, Chip Kelly does like running quarterbacks. I'm not gonna say he doesn't, but everybody thinks that Chip Kelly's offense is a read option running back offense. It's not.
I will say this: Chip Kelly's offense doesn't work in the NFL anymore.
I think it could work. I just think he needs the right quarterback. Cause this is where I'm gonna give a little bit of credit to Chip Kelly. Who have been his quarterbacks in the NFL? Chip Kelly actually had a productive offense with Nick Foles, who's not even in an NFL roster right now. I think he's a backup in Kansas City. I'm not sure, but he's not a starter. And Chip Kelly's offense is not about a running quarterback or a read option. It's about a fast-paced game, getting out as many plays as possible, no huddle, quick release. He doesn't go downfield that much. He's a quick release guy. And when he goes downfield on play actions. So a lot of people think it's just read option. No, it's not. I think Chip Kelly can run the offense if he gets the right quarterback to do it. I give him the benefit of the doubt personally because his best quarterback was Michael Vick, an old Michael Vick, since he got to the NFL. And I will say this: I think Chip Kelly was a horrible general manager.
Chip Kelly as a general manager was bad.
Was bad.
Ran a lot of players out of the team in Philly. LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
Talented players that are very hard to replace.
He was bad.
So I don't think he should buy the groceries. He just took them in.
Oh man, I love that. That's beautiful. I love that phrase. He cannot buy the groceries. He can cook the meal. I would love to see him draft somebody next year, which obviously he will.
But I think Chip Kelly goes back to college.
I think he's gonna stay another year. And you know what? You know what Walter Football mock draft has? They got the 49ers drafting, I think, 4th overall, taking Brad Kaya.
I'm a University of Miami fan. Brad Kaya is overrated.
But you know, for Chip Kelly's offense, maybe he's not that bad.
Brad Kaya needs at least one more year in college, man. He's a junior. If he comes out this year, that'll be a huge mistake.
Hey, it's Walter Football's prediction. We don't know, but that pretty much sums up today's episode, guys. It was my pleasure having Mr. Omar, Central Coast quarterback here. Boom, man. This guy's awesome. He knows his stuff. He should come more often to the show. We definitely miss JJ around here, but I will be seeing him tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe we can get some pictures or videos or something about the trip. It's going to be pretty crazy.
You actually try to record a little something.
I know, right? Yeah, it'd be fun. But like I said, that sums it up, guys. I'll remind you once again, the YouTube link will be on the podcast. The podcast link will be on the YouTube. Favorite the channel. Favorite the podcast. Like the channel. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Everybody, please. And finally, as always, I got to give a shout out to Food Inc. RD, my boy Joel Reyes. I will be visiting that restaurant soon, bro, when I come back. Trust me, I will.
Hey, I have to go, man.
Yeah, man, we have to go. I know the 70-30 burger is the trademark burger, but I'm just very intrigued about he's all over TV and stuff, man. It's the real deal, man. He's revolutionizing the cooking industry here in the Dominican Republic.
Best wings I've ever had.
The best wings we've ever had are the ones that he makes for the draft and for the Super Bowl, man. They're good. And I want to try that General Pimpo. How do you General
Pimpo? I think
General something like that sandwich. That's you gotta get that shit ready for me when I go there, bro. For real. But that's pretty much it, guys. As always, good luck in week 8. See you next time.